Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Engineer spawning as the blue Terran player over here at the 12 o'clock position of Scrap Station. Meanwhile, I am spawning over here as the red Terran player over here at what I'll call the 3 o'clock position of Scrap Station. Now, whenever I do a Terran mirror match, I always am a little bit confused. I really don't know how to approach the Terran mirror match in terms of trying to out-micro your opponent. Reapers are really not that great of an option, especially not on this map, as Reapers trying to jump up to the ledge do not have easy access to the mineral lines. Secondly, trying to go for any unit means that it can be easily countered by another unit from the Terran army at the same time tech-wise. So whenever I am now facing against a Terran mirror match, I try to go a little bit more of a macro game, trying to make sure I balance my technology, balance my economy, and balance my army all at the same time. What that really means for me is that I need to make sure that at any given moment, even if my opponent does try to outmass me, even though I'll have a little bit smaller numbers, because I'm in a more fortified position, more defensive position, I will be able to counter him. At the same time, if my opponent is trying to tech too quickly and he doesn't have enough of an army, I need to make sure my army is enough to try to push through on him before he gets any sort of economic advantage, or sorry, tech advantage. And finally, I need to make sure that I have enough units to try to keep control of the map, all around the map, and just be able to take more expansions and deny my opponent expansions as well. If that's a lot of things to keep track of, it is, and that's one of the reasons why the Terran mirror match is one of the hardest matchups for me in particular. Now I am getting that orbital command center in order to try to produce additional minerals. Right here, a little bit of a change in my build order. What I realized is that you really do not need to get that secondary supply depot after that original barracks. What that would end up doing is it allows you to get, because you're only going to be producing Marines for a little bit of time, and you're not going to be producing any SCVs out of that orbital command, you can slow down your supply depot production for just a little bit. SCV now coming in, gonna go ahead and do a little bit of scouting, but that poor Marine's gonna kill that SCV, and there it goes, exploded into oblivion. Look at that little drill just rolling away, and there it goes. Coming back over here, the bunker now gonna be completed. The reason why I want this bunker is I want the added range. The added range with two Marines and one Marauder should give me enough of a defense in order to hold it out even against a larger army. So even if he has, say, 3 Marauders or 5 Marauders and you know, two Marines, he should not be able to push in on that at any time. Gonna go ahead and build a supply depot off into this north, well, I'll call what, northeast or northwest position, excuse me, in order to do any additional scouting. I want to make sure that there are no Vikings, no Banshees now trying to move into play. Also getting that factory in. So currently it has a Marauder and a Marine, should be getting an additional Marine as soon as that supply depot is done, and then going to be using that as my front door. Taking a look at the armies right now, Engineer also sitting on a pretty small army as well, also trying to get that factory. That factory most likely going to be doing the same exact thing. I try to do a scanner sweep. I should probably scanner sweep more inside the base, and based upon the base I should be able to tell whether or not he was able to set up a fast expansion. Coming back over to my side, taking a look at the income, we both have 18 harvesters. I'm going to go ahead and lift off my barracks, drop down, build a reactor core, and let my factory grab that tech lab. I want to do that in order to be able to build siege tanks much more early. Because I sacrificed a little bit of my army build right there, I want to make sure that I have siege tanks in siege mode in order to really push back any single attack. I'm going to leave that siege tank back over here, so the only way they'll be able to shoot down that siege tank is if they get up onto that high ground and get up on the high ground right next to this bunker, and that's going to be a very, very precarious situation for him to be in. Taking a look back over here, and we see Engineer getting an engineering bay and going dual starports. Dual starports with dual tech labs means Banshees. So Engineer going to be going for Banshees. On the other hand, I am going for a starport, and with this starport, I'm going to go ahead and lift it up and drop it down and put it on this reactor core. I realize that Terran players on Scrap Station in particular really like to go Banshees. So I want to be able to get at least 2 Vikings in order to try to counteract any Banshees that may be coming in, leave a small amount of energy on that orbital command, and also build an engineering bay for perhaps some sight, just in case those Banshees are in fact cloaked. So taking a look at this, he's now trying to quickly build up 2 Banshees. We're both kind of sitting in our bases, walled up, trying to do a little bit of protection. He does a scanner sweep, notices the starport with the reactor core, and he has to assume that I am going Vikings, as there's not enough barracks for me to warrant to try to double build medevacs at this stage. Taking a look at this, in comes those Banshees, but he is also producing Vikings as well, so he's going to be producing Vikings along with his Banshees. At this time, I'm also trying to build some missile turrets in order to try to push back against any sort of attack. I didn't scan his base yet, so those Banshees are going to be there for quite some time, and perhaps they're going to move out with those Vikings as well. Vikings, offers a little bit of air-to-air support if needed. Taking a look at the siege tanks, 2 siege tanks on this front door, and now an SCV going out to scout. Banshee's now moving in, and I'm now finally able to start producing my first Viking and my second Viking. Still do not have enough energy. Missile turret able to get a couple hits off on that Banshee. Banshee down to 88. Remember that Banshees are in fact light, so those missile turrets are not going to be a good counter. Thors are a better counter to Banshees at this stage in the game. Viking now trying to come out, trying to shoot down that one Banshee. Banshee down to 48 hit points, down to 28, trying to get it down to 8 hit points. I really want to get that Banshee. You want to at least deal some damage in this particular fight, but the Vikings are, he runs into 2 groups of Vikings, and I realize that I'm in a really, really bad situation there, so I lose my Viking. He currently has 2 Banshees and 2 Vikings sitting outside his front door. Meanwhile, I have a couple Marines, couple Vikings, a couple siege tanks and a couple Vikings. My army size is pretty small, sitting at 43 over 43. My opponent's sitting at 49, and he has a little bit of a larger army, but I do in fact have a couple turrets around in order to try to deter any additional harassment. More Vikings now, once again trying to, I guess, fortify this air island over here and try to get these minerals. Taking a look, Banshee is still low on hit points relatively, and is he researching Cloak? Not yet researching Cloak. One thing to note, it is a seeker missile. The Raven ability is called a seeker missile, not a hunter seeker missile. So for all of you guys who have been calling it hunter seeker missiles in the channel comments for that Terran versus Zerg game, it is in fact just a seeker missile. So don't get too upset at me when I start saying disruptor versus sentry. Anyways, coming back over here, we have Marines now being built down, and the command center now going to be lifted off and try to take this natural expansion over here. I do have this single SCV sitting in this position, so I'll know when he tries to take this expansion. Coming down over here, I am trying to build this refinery, trying to get these missile turrets, and I'm going to be trying to move out with this attack force. Gonna go ahead and salvage this bunker, as this bunker is no longer gonna be of any use to me. Regaining all of those minerals and now moving out. Command center, I did in fact already upgrade it to an orbital command, as I wanted to upgrade it to an orbital command before I moved it. Now I have a missile turret down in this position. Gonna go ahead and move these siege tanks onto this high ledge over here. What this will do is it allows me to protect any incoming units from this side, and it will also allow me to grab an additional expansion over here as well. Coming back over here, we have those Marines with that combat shield. Gonna go ahead and take down that single SCV, so I know that engineer is now taking down, or now grabbing down that one particular expansion. Command center now going to start producing some SCVs and starting to mine out in just a moment. On the other hand, an orbital command now down over here trying to get this expansion up and running. Going to go ahead and build some turrets over here in order to protect from any Banshees as well. Taking a look, there are just supply depots, medevacs, a very, very large number of air forces from Engineer. Engineer is sitting at 65 over 86 Army. I'm sitting at 59 over 70, so fairly even still. No one with any real advantage at this stage in the game. Viking now trying to produce some more units, and I'm now trying to get down this armory in order to upgrade the attack on my Vikings and my siege tanks. So double siege tanks sitting over here, a fair number of Vikings sitting over here as well, and now gonna be trying to fight back against the rest of this particular force. Taking a look, SCV now going to go ahead and build some more turrets, just trying to transfer some more and trying to get the saturation underway. Taking a look at the mineral count, engineer now mining at 1,000 minerals while I'm mining at 900, so about fairly even at this stage. Orbital command still has plenty of energy. And after a certain amount of time, I think that mules. Actually, I'll go ahead and stay tuned for part 2 of this 3-part replay between Engineer and me here on Scrap Station.